Hello and welcome to Feesclub Academy, and this is the first lesson that we are going to start of full stack web development course. सबसे पहली चीज़ है जो हम लोग इसमें जानेंगे वो है full stack web development में how to browse the web. Now most of you people would be thinking that hey Amit, why you giving me all these initial introduction, how to browse the web and all. We all know that, so just get to the hard code, the tough coding and technical stuffs. But let me tell you, it took me like around a couple of years to learn all these basics that we are going to cover in this particular section, the initial sections, the fundamentals of internet. Because see, if you think that you should go in your development journey far enough so that you can stay stronger, stay longer in your web development journey, so you should have these fundamentals clear. And if you have these fundamentals clear, how does the web work, how does internet work, and what are the basic fundamentals behind what's going on behind the scenes when you just browse a website. If you know that, then once you start developing a website or web application or anything from the scratch, you will be keeping those things into mind, and you will be making an efficient a web application. So that is the reason these fundamentals should be very clear. Now I promise you must be learning some new things. Okay, so let's get started. With that being said, let's start the first session, the browsing the web. Now I just draw some shapes over here. You can see that this is our laptop or computer, and we are going to browse. We are going to just open up a browser. So this is the browser, and we just trying to load a website, and we put the URL in the address bar, www.google.com. And once we hit enter, then what happens? So let's go to the second step, and this is what happens. Browser actually asks this question: who is google.com fella? And ये क्वेश्चन पूछा जाता है ISP से. Now what is ISP? ISP is something like the company's internet service provider. अगर आप इंडिया में हैं तो like there is Reliance, BSNL, Idea, और अगर आप if you're in states, then there are AT&T, Cox cables, and if you are in Canada, there are something like Bell or Rogers. And that is why I just put this dollar symbol over here, because they take money. They charge you, and they provide you the internet services. So this particular question is being asked to ISPs, and ISP is asking that same question to DNS. Now I'll go through this DNS thing later on in our other section. So right now just think DNS is technically like a phone book. It has all the lists of the URLs and their IP addresses. IP addresses is something like the address of particular URL. Okay, so DNS has all the URL structures, URLs with their IP addresses. So what DNS does, DNS says that I don't know him personally, okay, but I have his address. So DNS google.com को personally नहीं जानता, but उसका IP address उसके पास है. So you can just check it out. So DNS क्या करता है, वो ISP को एक IP address सेंड करता है. Now ISP वापस से एक IP address, same IP address जो DNS server से मिला है, उसको ब्राउज़र पे वापस से भेजता है. So it just sends this 172.217.7.23 something gibberish, and it just sends back this IP address to the browser. Now the browser has this IP address now. Okay, now what happens next? In the third step, browser has the IP address. These are Google servers. Okay, Now Google server is also it's kind of computers. Servers are just like computers. They have some address, this IP address. Or browser is sending a request to the Google servers, and since browser has now the address of the Google servers or whatever website you are trying to log on to. So this 172.217.7.23. so now what happens, like browser has the IP address. Browser is going to ask the Google servers, wherever the server is, because it has the address. So browser is asking Google servers that give me the files that you have for this IP address, for this google.com. So Google server says, okay, I have HTML, I have CSS, and I have JavaScript, and I'm just going to send these files to you back to the browser. And what happens next, once all these three files are being loaded over here, it shows the Google search page, right? So this is what happens behind the scenes. Now very quickly, I just want to show you something about what are these, what actually happens behind this and how the internet is working, right? So I have this particular diagram over here. I know this diagram is not that good enough, but still this particular diagram is quite relevant to our topic. That's why I chose this. I took this photograph from m3isp.com. So in this particular diagram, as you can see, that there's a house, and in this particular house there is a router over here somewhere, and this router is sending Wi-Fi signals, and in every room you will be able to access the internet through a device like a computer, laptop, or mobile phone, or whatever. And this router is connected over here to something called modem, and this modem is a kind of device that receives the signals from the towers. Okay, so this is the tower, and the towers are connected to the ISP through orange cables, right? So this is called ISP network because it is connected through various other towers. And finally, this ISP is connected through this blue wires through the internet backbone. Okay, now what is internet backbone we'll see in the next part, but this is how the internet works. Okay, so now what is the internet backbone? If you talk about the internet backbones, these are nothing but these submarine cables network all over the globe. You can see that. Yes, this is called submarine cables. These servers, these are server locations, basically these points, and these server locations are connected to each other with these submarine cables that are grounded under the sea, on the floors of sea and oceans and all, as you can see. So suppose we are sitting over here somewhere in Mumbai or Madhya Pradesh or wherever, and we want to access google.com. So we first of all type that google.com in our browser, and browser is asking to our ISP, and ISP through the ISPs it goes to the internet backbone, and somewhere here is our server, our country server, and this particular server is have the IP address now, and IP address of the Google, and suppose the Google's servers are located somewhere in the United States or maybe Singapore or wherever. So just with this particular cable, the question is being asked. This is the particular cable, and with this particular cable, Google server is sending all the HTML file and JavaScript and CSS files that we saw in the last video, in the last part. So it just sends back the information to here, and from here we get the information on our computer. So suppose this cable breaks down, sometimes you won't be able to get access of the page. You won't be able to see google.com on your computer. So this is what happens actually. Okay, so this is what internet backbone is, and to show you how insane this internet backbone is, I just want to show you this picture. I got this from Wikipedia, something Opti project. They just uploaded this picture, and this picture is of the internet what actually the internet is, what the www, the World Wide Web is. It's actually the collection of all the computers. See, these are the IP addresses of each and every computer. These dots are basically the computers, and these computers are connected to the other computer, and this computer is connected to the other computer, and so on and so forth. So this is just 30% of the whole internet in 2015. So you can just get the idea that how insane is this. And when I saw this picture for the first time, believe me, I got to know that this is so wonderful, and this is why I decided to become a web developer, because a web developer is someone who allows all these things to be happen. So I think this is the reason why everyone should be a web developer. Anyways, so I hope this will excite you to become a web developer and to get this course. Now we all know that how does the internet works, and how the internet backbone works and everything. So now you won't believe that after seeing all these things, after learning all these stuffs, and without even doing a code, without even learning a single line of code, we have three basic important points to become a web developer. And if we will use these concepts when we are going to develop a website from scratch, or web application from scratch, then we would be able to develop a clean, fast, and bug-free internet applications. So let me ask you a question. What are those three basic points that the website performance depends on? And we have already learned this thing. So let me just reveal it for you. The first thing that is important is location of the server. Now you remember that we have gone through this in the submarine cables diagram. We found that the ISP has to ask the question to the servers and the DNS servers, and once the DNS server is sending the IP address back to the ISP, and ISP is getting those IP addresses, and they just send that IP address back to the browser. Now browser is having that IP address, and the browser is going to go to the address, and the address is what? It's the location of the server. So suppose these Google servers are located near to the user, I mean the person who wants to access the website. So the more near the Google server location will be, the more fast, or you can say the faster the website will be loaded. So the loading time of the website will be less, right? So the performance of the website is being dependent on this thing, location of the servers. Right. Now the next thing is how many trips. Well, this is very important. We have also learned this. Suppose we want or our browser is asking Google servers, hey, give me the files. So Google server is sending the HTML file first, and once it starts reading the HTML file, it finds a link of a CSS file, right? So it again asks Google servers that, hey, I just want the CSS file as well. So Google servers are now sending the CSS file to the browser. So it happens, how many trips? We have just completed 2 trips. First is with the HTML and the CSS second, and now after reading the CSS file, in the HTML file, browser again finds a link of JavaScript file. So it again asks Google servers, hey, give me the JavaScript file now. So Google servers are now sending the JavaScript files back to the browser, right? So there are three trips. So the less number of trips would be there, the faster would be your website. So this is what you have to also make sure in your mind once you are developing a website from scratch. Okay, so how many trips? In this particular example, we have 3 trips basically, but this is not the case with when you develop a real website. So this is just an example. Right, now the third and very important thing is size of the files. Now it's quite obvious that if these files, HTML files, CSS and JavaScript are larger, the time to load all these or read all these files by the browsers would be longer, right? So the performance of the website will also depend on the size of the files. That's why there are concepts of minification of the CSS files and JavaScript files. We'll see everything in the later part of this discourse. The website performance is depending on these three things: location of the servers, how many trips, and the size of the files. So you learn these concepts, these basic concepts of the web development thing without even learning a single line of code. So this is very important, and you need to keep these three basic concepts in your minds whenever you are trying to develop a website from scratch. And once you make sure these things are being followed up on the website development part, then your website ultimately will be fast, clean, and modern, and it will be highly recommended by the Google search engines or any other search engines like Bing and Yahoo, so that your site will be able to be listed at the top positions of these search engines. So these things will make sure, because faster your website or web application will be, the higher the rank in Google you'll get. So this was all about this particular section. In the next sections we'll learn about some history about the website. We will learn about these files. What are these HTML files, CSS files, and JavaScript files? So stay tuned.
That was all about this video. Please like and share this video and subscribe to Feesclub Academy. See you in the next video.